Previously on Maplestory the novel, Sacred Tears.
Our mission at this moment is to speak with the Queen about her subjects.
That is simply unacceptable.
You can't know how much I am in your debt.
Did I not make it clear that I was not to be disturbed today?
And now the continuation of Chapter 3.5, Part 2.
I see. Then speak your mind. I have much to do.
The Queen snapped. Dane and Menodora stood once again, still clutching one another's hand. Menodora now felt what Dane had when they entered. A mass of darkness was gathered around or near the Queen.
I am Dane Altoor, and this is my beloved Menodora. We are on a mission of curiosity to find why the world is so imbalanced. In our travels, we have come to many towns in a state of ruin and poor morale from heavy taxation. We come to ask why this heavy burden has been laid upon them, and if some relief may be reached.
The Queen said nothing for a long time, her stare drawn back to the pile of gold beside her, running her hand through the coins.
Running a kingdom takes money, I'm sure you are aware. I am sure that you are also aware of the increasing difficulty of growing our own food.
The Queen asked, picking up a large gem and rubbing it between her fingers.
I was not aware of this difficulty, and I am aware of the cost of providing for a kingdom. But the level at which you are demanding taxes is driving your kingdom into the ground.
Dane answered sternly.
You would dare tell me how to run a kingdom? The money gathered goes for the betterment of everyone. As the food shortage increases, so too do the costs of importing food from the Emperor's fields in Orion.
Then why are there dozens of people begging on the streets of Arentia?
Menodora asked. The Queen snapped her attention to her.
Those that can't help don't deserve the food I've brought them. And what of me? A delicate flower in this parched desert. One of the last remaining fairies in all of Eusoria.
Dane lowered his brow, his forearm tensing as magical power flowed to his hand.
With all due respect, Your Majesty, don't flatter yourself. The money there beside you could feed all of Arentia for nearly 2 years.
And leave me in ruin? No. I would sooner watch the whole of Arentia wither away!
She shouted. Dane was about to respond when Menodora squeezed his hand, catching his attention.
What is it?
He whispered.
I'm surprised you didn't notice, but the Queen has been completely overtaken by the world's darkness. Suppose she's right about being a fairy. The cleansing can make any fairy this resentful.
Dane focused on the Queen again, this time concentrating and instantly seeing the mass of darkness not only surrounding her, but seeping from her as well. He was about to ask another question when the sleeping man next to her caught his attention. If that was the king, then why did he sleep in the throne room? Was he so lazy and uninterested in being king that he would simply sleep away his days? Was he feeble? The king still looked young enough to be in his prime years.
What happened to the king that he would be asleep as such?
Dane asked, gathering a powerful spell behind his back. The Queen ignored his question, greedily turning back to the pile of treasure beside her and running her fingers through the various coins.
They took it all from me. I now take it all from them!
The Queen squealed, a mad smile spreading across her face as the whole chamber began to darken.
Your Majesty?
Menodora asked, tightening her grip on Dane's hand and beginning to back away, pulling him with her.
You were one of them. One of them that took it all from me. And I will take it back!
The Queen shouted, throwing her hand forward. Thick, black, liquid-like power flooded around them as Dane cast a barrier spell. The splash, unfortunately, covered the nearby column guards, instantly reducing their flesh to ash and dissolving their bones. Menodora commanded Tygoon and the remaining guards to evacuate the throne room.
We can't guarantee your safety. Please, at least stand at the door.
She called. The guards reluctantly retreated, standing ready to attack should they be needed. With the guards safe, Menodora turned her attention back to the Queen, unleashing a blast of bright power through the barrier and obliterating the black ooze. The Queen seemed shocked, even scared that she was facing someone she couldn't overcome.
I will not be silenced!
She screeched, unleashing another wave of black ooze, which was obliterated even faster than before.
Why would you tear apart a country? What do they have to deal with your pain?
Dane demanded.
Everything! I will take everything from them and make them know my pain!
She howled, throwing another wave of ooze, pouring over the barrier and beginning to fill the room. Dane tightened his grip on Menodora's hand, smirking as she held up her free hand, and light gathered in her palm. Dane held up his hand, bringing the same spell to life as they held their palms toward the queen. A glow began to pulse from their clasped hands, blazing up their arms, through their chest, and erupting from their palms as a brilliant white flash. The ooze melted from existence, billowing around the queen, shrieking as the glow permeated her being. The back of the palace exploded as the light shot into the sky, causing the bright desert sun to look dim by comparison. When the spell finished, the queen's body remained still on the floor. Steam or smoke wafted from her, dancing in the sunlight that poured through the broken wall. As the sun spilled in through the hole, they both could make out vertical scars on her shoulder blades, where a pair of wings might have been before. Dane and Menodora could only stare, unsure what they had unleashed or what it had done to the queen. Minutes passed on in silence until the king began to stir. He seemed dazed, unaware of what had transpired in the last few minutes until he caught sight of his queen laying on the floor face down. Quickly he stumbled over to her, picking her up in his arms and gently shaking her, calling her name until she coughed and heaved for breath. Dane lowered his brow, grabbing his journal to write down the events, but as he let go of Menodora's hand, he felt a vast emptiness in him, as if his light were missing, but the theories of this emptiness would have to wait. The king and queen thanked them for freeing the queen from her overtaking. After Dane and Menodora rebuilt the palace with a few spells and alchemic transmutations, the queen explained that she was on a journey to Orion when she came across a traveling family who had been attacked. It appeared as if something with claws had attacked. Ash drifted up from their wounds. She ordered her guards to dig a grave for them, but as they began, a creature made of shadows sprung from the sands, killing the soldiers swiftly. It was about to kill her, but it seemed to decide otherwise, driving a claw through her chest and taking over her body.
I was aware of everything that creature did in my name, putting my husband to sleep, sealing off the palace, and ordering stiff taxes on all of Arentia. I tried to fight it, but I was powerless to do so.
She sighed, looking to where the two guards had been before they were killed. Dane and Menodora looked to one another.
Your Majesty, if you were aware of everything, I trust that you are aware of the dire situation your kingdom has fallen into. Many towns are on the verge of collapse due to heavy taxation. The people's spirits is slowly being crushed,
Dane explained, telling of the many towns they had visited before coming to Arentia.
Yes, of course. I will reverse the taxation immediately and return the money that creature took from them,
She promised, drawing up a decree that she and the king signed on the spot.
If I may be so bold to ask, Your Majesty,
Dane began, until the queen smirked and turned to face him as the king scribbled his signature.
You wish to know how I, a fairy, came to such an arid place?
She asked with a sad smile.
I do not wish to overstep my station, Your Majesty. I am simply curious as there is another fairy living in my home city of Margata.
The queen sighed nostalgically, straightening her back and folding her hands in her lap.
It was soon after the cleansing, an event many years before your birth. As a cruel joke, a soldier cut my wings off and paraded them around his camp as a trophy. My home of the forest was no longer safe, so after healing my wounds, my wanderings brought me to this place 20 years ago, where the king, my current husband, found me in the market one day and took me to be his queen.
With his curiosity sated, the couple left the palace, revisiting Sherazade to tell her how to contact the Keeper of All Stories. It would be a short time before he answered her, and to sustain them for that time, Menodora left her with a handful of silver miso.
So, what do you think of the queen being overtaken by the darkness? Human emotion can't be that powerful, can it?
Menodora asked as they stopped for supplies to restock their cart. Dane could only shrug and shake his head.
It is worrisome, but what the Queen described was alive, sentient. It could think for itself. latching onto her pain as a fairy and using it to overpower her. How could human emotions do that? As far as I am aware, emotion is an outward expression reacting to a given situation. This is far more than that.
True. If the darkness can spawn avatars of itself, then we have to find a way to harness and amplify light.
Menodora reached out and took Dane's hand, holding it up and showing him the faint glow around their clasped hands.
This, right here, is the ultimate light we've been looking for. We need to find others who can join us,
She said, kissing the back of his hand as they walked.
It will take time, but perhaps we can use the Great Obelisk of Aswan as a focus to distribute the light to the world once we have found others,
Dane suggested. Once they had nearly emptied a coin pouch helping the beggars in the market, the two of them left Arentia once their cart was prepared, traveling the rest of the world in search of those who could join them.
When your fires all die out, all you know just turns to ash, and your life goes slipping, spinning into doubt. Sunshine trapped inside your heart, cold and lost and in the dark. Looking back on all this, nobody was there. Nothing left to lose. Gotta find the you that's hidden deep, deep down, and light the fire in yourself. Never be afraid to fall, throw yourself into it. Victory's waiting for you. Go fight, show your energy. Don't slow down, no time to wait. Nothing's stopping you now. It's gonna be your day. Hopes and wishes never fade. Fight to make them stronger. Nothing will take them from you. Go